Okay, good morning again, everyone. It's Nick Petro at the National Weather Service. It's Monday, the 23rd of December, 2019, and this is your weekly impact weather briefing for Central North Carolina. And hope everybody's having a good day today and a good start to your week for this Monday as we head into the holiday. Here is the upcoming weather pattern. And you'll notice in the upper left, you'll see kind of a storm system there depicted off the Georgia coast. And that storm system affecting the southeast will continue to provide cloudy, cool, and wet weather across much of central North Carolina today and tonight. So just remind yourself and remind your friends and family and coworkers to slow down on the wet roads. You know, every time the roads get wet, we always see a bunch of accidents out there, slide-offs and that sort of thing. So, you know, it's best just to kind of take it easy and remind folks to do that, especially with, holiday traffic and whatnot. And particularly if you're south of the Triangle, closer to the South Carolina line where there's more heavier rain, watch out for heavy ponding of water on the roadways. I will point out that the greatest risk for localized poor drainage flooding will be locations, again, south of the Triangle. That storm system will exit to our east early Tuesday, and then that'll clear out. High pressure will build in. Then we'll have dry weather with above normal temperatures expected right through Friday. And look at that high sitting basically right over us there in Wednesday and Friday parts of the image. And then finally this weekend, we'll have a cold front approaching. So that cold front will bring us our next chance for rain this weekend. Let me show you real quick here. Here's the regional radars I pointed out. As I pointed out just a moment ago, that we still have a little bit of rain, actually quite a bit of rain, at least duration-wise, to go. Now, clearly, we're not going to get the heaviest rain like you see. You see this these green area. That's where it's really coming down, and where the greatest risk of any type of flooding may be. But one thing I'll point out here is the rain is pretty light as you head towards the Virginia border, and then it gets heavier as you head to the south. So the point here is if you're up near the Virginia border, you're going to have lesser rain amounts, actually, if any at all. If you're heading south, or if you're located south near the South Carolina border, that's where the heavier rain is expected. The heaviest rain is expected, and the greatest risk for any kind of water impacts in terms of heavy ponding or any type of minor flooding. If you're down in central South Carolina, much of South Carolina, then obviously the risk for any kind of flooding is even greater. But for most of central North Carolina, you're just going to see some lighter rain and minimal impacts. All right, so that is again for the rest of today and tonight, and you'll see there's a quick, pretty sharp back edge to this. So once this back edge moves east tonight, rain should quickly end, and you'll notice the northern edge of this rain is not too far away. So as this whole thing shifts east tonight, we'll quickly see the rain end by Tuesday morning. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this so this doesn't interfere with the rest of our slides. And that's our pattern for the week. And just to we always show this one, but the point here is no thunderstorms the next 3 days. Here's another way to demonstrate how much rain we're expecting and sort of the character of the forecast for the next few days. This is these maps demonstrate how much rain we're expecting to get. You can see today we're looking at anywhere from trace amounts near the Virginia border to maybe another inch to inch and a half near the South Carolina border. And then clearly if you're traveling south into South Carolina today, that's where we're going to see the 2, 3 and perhaps even greater amounts right near the coast. So if you're heading south, watch out for that heavy rain and ponding of water on the roads and localized flooding. Okay, so anyway, that pushes east tonight. Tomorrow that leaves us dry tomorrow. And high pressure builds over the area. So Wednesday, Christmas Day looks dry. Christmas Eve looks dry, and Christmas Day looks dry, and the day after Christmas looks dry too. In fact, Friday looks dry as well. So that's pretty good. We'll take that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all dry. And then as I pointed out, the next front will move back toward our area over the weekend. So again, the highest rain south, the lightest rain north as you head through the 7-day period. All right. Okay. Where can I find a white Christmas? I thought I'd throw this in here just for some fun. So if you're traveling and you're wondering, is it going to be some snow on the ground for a white Christmas where I'm headed? You really have to either go into the mountains, the central or northern Appalachians, or you have to go along and north of I-80 up and across the northeast to find some snow on the ground. There's a little bit of snow left in Indiana and Illinois and western Ohio, but really the place where the best snow mounts are going to be, quite frankly, are in the Rockies, in the mountains, kind of where you'd expect it. So just thought I'd include that for some fun. What about as we head through the next week or so? What about any kind of winter weather possibilities? These maps show the likelihood or probability, rather, of more than 4 inches of snow. And for what it's worth, or for that point, actually, I could put on here even lesser amounts for us. Basically, the point is no snow for us, no really heavy snow or winter storm concerns, really, in the next 3 days for really anywhere across the east. You have to really get into the Rockies and the mountains out west to see any kind of heavier rain potential. I also thought I'd show this too. This is I don't always show this, in fact, but I wanted to kind of give you a sort of an idea of how things are going to trend. The dates are at the bottom, so you can see the 23rd, 24th, and the time, 12 Zulu. So this would be Christmas morning. This would be Christmas evening, the day after Christmas, and so on. And this is a compilation or ensemble, if you will, of a couple dozen different models. The global ensemble forecast system. This is the U.S. model. That is it's a global ensemble forecast system, and it gives you a trend. When the lines are closer together, that means there's high confidence in the forecast. When the lines are spread apart, that means the confidence is lower. But the main thing I wanted to point out is look how the trend, once we get past today, is kind of like up. Okay, and this is a temperature graph, right? So each day it's going to get slightly warmer as we head through 26th, 27th, 28th, and even 29th. Looks like the warmth is going to peak somewhere here around the 29th, and then notice how things come crashing down here right around the beginning of the end of the year and beginning of 2020. So the point is enjoy a little warm up here. In fact, high temperatures later this week, getting close to the into the 60s. That'll be real nice. But once we get past really this weekend, and that next cold front comes through, when the cold front comes through over this weekend, behind that cold front, temperatures are going to come crashing down. And the last day of the year and early into next year, we may see a little cool down, back to winter weather or back to winter temperatures. I'm not predicting any winter weather, that is, or snow or ice or anything. I'm just saying it's going to turn cold. Okay, we'll deal with any precipitation chances associated with that later. Right now, it doesn't appear to be any, but we'll always be keeping our eyes open. So look for a change to colder temperatures, at least, as we head into the new year. All right. So that takes a summary for today through the weekend. The storm system affecting the southeast will continue to provide cloudy, cool, and wet weather across much of central North Carolina today and tonight. Be sure to slow down on wet roads and watch for heavy ponding of water. The greatest risk for localized poor drainage flooding will be locations south of the Triangle. The storm system will exit to our east early Tuesday, then dry weather with above normal temperatures expected through Friday. Perhaps even getting into the 60s by Thursday or Friday. A cold front will bring our next chance for rain this upcoming weekend. And right now, for central North Carolina, no winter precipitation expected for the rest of 2019. Although I will point out early, maybe the last day of the year, New Year's Eve, and into the beginning of the new year, we might see a cool down. All right, so that's the way things are shaping up for the rest of this for this week. All right. I'll be happy to take any questions at this time. I'm going to pause the recording during the questions, and then after our questions, I'm going to present a brief summary here of some changes to our flash flood warnings, impact-based flash flood warnings. So I'm going to pause the recording. All right, so welcome back to the recording here. And what I wanted to do is a few moments ago, we sent out to our email lists an email discussing a change to our flash flood warnings that's going to be coming up here at the end of this year and next year. And these are called impact-based warnings. Okay, so our goal here at the National Weather Service with this change is to improve the public response to flash flood warnings by providing easily readable information. And issuing wireless emergency alerts, the alerts you get on your cell phone, only for flash flood events that require immediate life-saving action. Okay, so what that's going to involve are these new machine-readable tags to characterize the damage threat, where the information comes from, and why we're issuing the warning, and as the causative event. And this will be, you're probably pretty familiar with this already because we implemented similar changes. We call them the impact-based warnings, similar changes to tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings a couple years ago. So it'll be very similar in format to our tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, I will point out, because we have these new tags at the bottom of our flash flood warnings, and I'll give examples here shortly. The tags at the bottom are designed to help us kind of control when we trigger wireless emergency alerts. And these changes are based on feedback, and we've gotten our agency's gotten a lot of feedback about some folks saying, well, perhaps there's a lot of flash flood warnings going out and a lot of WEA activations. So we're trying to, I guess what the point of this is to kind of trim it down a little bit in sense of let's activate the cell phones when it's something that's a little bit more considerable or catastrophic. Okay, and that change to wireless emergency alerts will occur. Right now, the turn-on date for that is the 8th of January. It might be a slightly later than that, but no earlier than the 8th of January. So keep in mind that no weather radios will alert for all flash flood warnings. So and there will be no changes to the INWS service as well. All right, so when are we turning this on here in Raleigh? For Central North Carolina, that would be the 28th of December. So starting on the 28th of December, we're going to change to this new format. All of the remaining National Weather Service offices that serve the state of North Carolina will have it done around that same time, but no later than the 31st of December. All right. So what does this look like, you might be wondering? And the point, you see the two arrows there on the screen? Well, basically, those are the two changes, okay? We're not removing anything from the old flash flood warning text. We're simply adding and making it a little bit easier to pull out hazard, make it easier to pull out why, the source, and making it easier to pull out the impact. So you can see each flash flood warning will contain a bulleted list of easily readable information describing the hazard, the source, that is, why we're issuing it, maybe, because gauges are showing flooding or emergency management reported flooding. And then finally, a brief description of the impact. That's the third purple part right there on the screen. And then the other addition is at the very bottom, which is these tags. And machine readable tags will appear at the bottom, and they'll include some information that I'm going to expand upon right here on the next slide. So here, this slide shows the difference between the old or current product and what the new product will look like. And I will point out that the tags at the bottom, there's going to be 3 categories of these tags: base, considerable, and catastrophic. Okay, so here's what a base flash flood warning would look like. Okay, so everything you see on the current side, on the left side, will remain in the new product, but what you see enclosed in the yellow box is in addition to what we have been putting out. So you can see the new format of the product will include a hazard, a source, and an impact. And then at the bottom, this machine readable tags will delineate whether it's a base flash flood warning, a considerable flash flood warning, or a catastrophic flash flood warning. When it's a base, and this example I have on the screen is a base, It'll just simply say why the reason it is been indicated, and how much rain is expected, okay, in the time frame. All right, so that's the base. What about the considerable? The considerable, the new parts are highlighted in yellow, but the thing I want to draw your attention to is the threat text. I'm going to try to get rid of this bar here. Let me remove the. Let me not do that because that's going to take too. That's going to take too much time here. Okay, does that go away now? All right. So yeah, there we go. All right, so you can see it a little bit better now. All right, so with the considerable, at the bottom, the tag is going to say that the flash flood damage threat is considerable, and that word is actually used there, considerable. Let me back up again and show you the base. The base does not say the flash flood damage threat. So notice the base is missing the flash flood damage threat. So if you don't see a flash flood damage threat, that means that's the base, okay? And then the considerable will have the flash flood damage threat, and it indicates considerable. And then finally, catastrophic, the flash flood damage threat will actually say catastrophic. And this is used more for life-threatening flash flood, worst case scenario type stuff, historic flooding, and in many cases we'll have the word flash flood emergency. Well, actually, we will have the word flash flood emergency indicated for these catastrophic. Okay, so that is that is the three different categories of tags at the bottom. Okay, and what that purpose is to help delineate when wireless emergency alerts will be issued. So let me back up here again. Base, okay, at the very bottom, the flash flood threat level is missing. So this flash flood warning will not be disseminated via wireless emergency alerts, via cell phones. However, when the flash flood system, when the cell phone system that sends these WEAs out sees a flash flood damage threat that's considerable, or if it sees one that says catastrophic, then it goes ahead and it sends it out to the cell phones. All right. All right, let me show you another slide here. Now, this table shows all of the tags at the bottom, the possible options. So at the bottom, let me back up here. We're talking about the bottom box, okay? So we're honing in, zooming in, so to speak, on the bottom box. So for the flash flood source, there's two options, okay? Two options. Let me go back here, and we're talking about this part right here, the flash flood source. Okay, so there's two options for that. And the options are either radar indicated or it's observed. And that's pretty obvious. You know, we see it on the radar. Or if somebody calls us, so let's say we get a media report or, credible human observers, maybe trained spotters, maybe, emergency managers, then we'll put that it's actually observed. Okay, so radar indicated means that it hasn't happened yet, and we're trying to give people a heads up that it will happen. Our radar's indicating heavy rain. Whereas if it says observed, the flooding is already happening. Okay, so that again will be at the bottom, right here. This flash flood source. All right. The other part now we're talking about the flash flood. Whoops, I don't know why this. The flash flood damage threat. Okay, if we go, there's three possible options there. There's either base, considerable, or catastrophic. Excuse me, and here's the difference. Base means will be used most of the time when flash flood impact damage is possible. Considerable, we pick considerable, is used more rarely when there's indications that flash flood capable of unusual severity of impact is imminent or ongoing, and urgent action is needed to protect lives and property. And then finally, catastrophic is chosen, pretty exceedingly rare, but when a flash flood threat to life and catastrophic damage is occurring or is imminent, and floodwaters have risen or will rise to levels rarely, if ever, seen. Okay? Again, let me back up here. That's this part right here in the bottom, flash flood damage threat. All right. Finally, if it's a base, there's a couple other different pieces of information here that can be included at the bottom. And for example, expected rainfall, used to identify rainfall rate leading to potential observed flash flooding. We can also include some information here, whether it's a dam or levee failure. Okay. So anyway, that those are optional for us. So when I uncover it all, this portion here, this is how you, this explains what the bottom tags, how they will be used. Okay. So just to summarize, the biggest change here, and let me go to a considerable example. The biggest two changes, there's an additional box, additional information in the middle where we normally, this is an addition, hazard source impact. Okay, these will be new to these new impact-based flash flood warnings. Okay, the other new part is the tags at the bottom, and these tags are described here in summary on this page right here. Okay, so I'm going to email this out. If you're on our email list, you've already gotten an email that kind of describes this, and then these slides will be included in the PDF file that I emailed everyone. And then finally, this description has been recorded, and I'll be uploading this to our YouTube page, so you can always come back and watch it again. And as always, if you have any questions or are confused about any of this, excuse me, I just had to cough there, so I muted for a moment. But if you're confused about any of this, don't ever hesitate to give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'll try to help you work through all this. Okay. In the big picture, I really think that this is going to be pretty really easy to grasp. There's really, the changes here, they're additional information. So there's nothing being removed from the old products. So if you're used to the old products, everything in the old products are still going to be there. We're just including additional information, hazard, source, impact, and then we're including these threat tags here at the bottom that helps us delineate whether or not wireless emergency alerts are triggered or not. And that's really what it boils down to. Okay. So with that, I will be happy to take any questions that anyone on this webinar has about these changes. And I'll pause for a moment. And I will record this question session, because chances are if you have a question, somebody who's later watching this on YouTube might have the same question. And I thought, I'll go ahead and share this as well. All right, so I'm just going to pause for a moment here. For those watching later on YouTube, just hang in there, because I'm pausing to let folks, if anybody has any questions, ask any. All right. Not seeing any questions. Very good. If you think about something after the fact and you're confused about or want to email me or shoot me an email or give me a call, I'd be happy to help you out. So anyway, with that, I appreciate you sticking around to watch this extended weekly impact weather briefing. And again, I'll be emailing the slides and this recording out here shortly.